I still remember the day Bubbles came into my clinic like it was yesterday. Bubbles was a bright orange goldfish, about 3 inches long, but the vibrant life I expected to see in him was absent. Instead, he floated awkwardly near the surface of his aquarium, struggling to maintain balance, tilting sideways or even upside down. His owner was worried, having noticed that Bubbles was no longer darting around the tank with his usual enthusiasm. When Bubbles was brought to me, it was clear something was wrong, but fish medicine is a subtle art. Unlike mammals or birds, the signs of illness in fish are often difficult to interpret, and their treatment requires careful consideration of their environment as well as their physical condition. From the start, my suspicion was swim bladder disease, a common but often misunderstood condition among pet goldfish. The swim bladder is a specialized organ that allows fish to control their buoyancy, enabling them to stay at a certain depth without effort. When it malfunctions, the fish can no longer regulate its position in the water, which leads to the awkward swimming behavior I observed in Bubbles. I began with a thorough examination of Bubbles. He showed no signs of external injury, no visible parasites, and his eyes were clear. His gills moved normally, indicating he was breathing adequately. The diagnosis hinged on his swimming problems and his posture. Given these symptoms, swim bladder disorder was the most likely culprit. Next, I inquired in detail about Bubbles' living conditions, diet, and recent changes. His owner reported that Bubbles had been eating the same type of commercial flakes for a while and the tank had several decorative plants, but the filtration system was somewhat outdated, and the water quality was not regularly tested. The tank temperature had also fluctuated a bit over the past weeks, as the heater was malfunctioning. All of these factors contributed to Bubbles' condition. Swim bladder disease can be caused by several things: overfeeding, constipation, infection, or poor water quality. In Bubbles' case, I suspected it was a combination of mild constipation and suboptimal tank conditions that aggravated his problem. I explained to Bubbles' owner that the key to recovery would be adjusting his diet and improving the environment inside the aquarium. Fish are highly sensitive to their habitat, and even minor stressors can cause significant health issues. The first step was to change Bubbles' diet. I recommended switching from the commercial flakes to a regimen including high-quality pellets formulated for goldfish, soaked slightly to soften them and reduce the risk of gulping air while eating, a common cause of swim bladder problems. I also suggested incorporating fresh vegetables like peas, which act as a natural laxative and help alleviate constipation. Water quality was the next priority. I advised a full cleaning of the tank, replacing a portion of the water with dechlorinated, temperature-matched water to stabilize conditions. A better filtration system was recommended to maintain optimal oxygen levels and remove waste products that can be harmful. Additionally, maintaining a consistent water temperature between 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, was crucial. Fluctuations could stress Bubbles further and slow his recovery. After outlining the treatment plan, I reassured the owner that with patience and care, many goldfish recover fully from swim bladder disease. However, I cautioned that it could take several days to weeks for noticeable improvement and that close monitoring was essential. Over the next several visits, I observed gradual changes. Bubbles still struggled initially, but his swimming improved bit by bit. His buoyancy began to normalize, and his appetite increased as his digestive system adjusted to the new diet. It was encouraging progress, though I knew the real test would come once Bubbles returned home, away from the controlled environment of the clinic. This was only the beginning of Bubbles' journey back to health, a journey that would require diligence, care, and attention not only from me as his veterinarian but most importantly from his owner. When Bubbles returned home, the real challenge began, not just for him, but for his owner. The changes I recommended needed to be implemented consistently for Bubbles to recover fully. I stayed in close contact, offering advice and support through follow-up consultations and answering any questions that arose. The first few days were critical. Bubbles' owner carefully cleaned the tank, replacing about 25 to 30% of the water with freshly prepared, dechlorinated water at a stable temperature of 21 degrees Celsius. The old, inefficient filter was replaced with a better quality one to improve water circulation and oxygenation. This helped create a more stable and healthier environment for Bubbles, reducing the stress that had contributed to his illness. Diet changes were implemented with equal care. Instead of the old flakes, Bubbles received softened pellets, small portions spaced out through the day to prevent overeating. His owner also prepared boiled peas, peeled and mashed to help ease Bubbles' digestion. This simple but effective dietary adjustment addressed the constipation that was putting pressure on Bubbles' swim bladder. Within a week, subtle signs of improvement were noticeable. Bubbles started to hold himself more upright and swim with greater control. His buoyancy problems lessened, and he was no longer floating awkwardly at the surface or sinking uncontrollably. His energy returned, and he began exploring the aquarium with a renewed curiosity that was encouraging to see. Regular monitoring of water parameters became part of the routine. Ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate levels were checked with test kits to ensure toxic buildup didn't occur. The tank temperature remained steady, avoiding fluctuations that could trigger setbacks. 2 weeks into this regimen, Bubbles' transformation was remarkable. He swam steadily across the tank, no longer struggling to maintain balance. His appetite was strong, and his color brightened, signaling overall health. His owner reported feeling a deep sense of relief and joy watching Bubbles regain his natural behavior. From my experience as a veterinarian specializing in aquatic animals, Bubbles' case was textbook in demonstrating how crucial environment and diet are to fish health. Swim bladder disease, while common, is often reversible with proper care and adjustments. The key lies in identifying underlying causes, be it constipation, water quality, or stress, and addressing them holistically. Bubbles' recovery also highlighted the importance of owner education. Without the willingness and dedication to change his care routine, Bubbles would likely have continued suffering or deteriorated further. But with consistent attention to his diet, tank conditions, and overall well-being, he was given a new lease on life. Today, Bubbles swims freely and confidently. His story is a reminder that even small creatures like goldfish require thoughtful care and understanding. Behind every aquarium, there's a delicate ecosystem, and maintaining its balance is essential to the health of its inhabitants. I often share Bubbles' story with other pet owners and colleagues, not just as a medical case, but as a lesson in compassion and responsibility. The path to healing isn't always quick or simple, but with knowledge and care, it is certainly possible.